Hello everyone, thanks for coming here today. So I was actually here last year at Retail Week as a graduate, so I wasn't currently working at that point. I was here with Shop Direct on placement, and this year I'm glad to be back presenting. Yeah, it's quite unusual with the headphones. If you are here for a silent disco, it's not today, possibly next week. So we do have two students here today, both from Portsmouth University. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage Jordan and Reese. And we'll just pop these headphones on so we can actually hear each other. All right, guys?
Yeah.
Ready? Okay. So we'll probably just start with some broad questions. I'll sort of open the scene. We can maybe get a few words from the students here, what they're currently doing, what placements they're on at the minute, and then as the session progressions, if you do submit some questions, they'll should hopefully come up on the screen, and then we can sort of make it more of an interactive session rather than me just asking quite a lot of questions. It's, you know, if you guys are here to find out what today's students do want from their employer, then yeah, submit questions. So if we start with some maybe introductions, maybe guys, you can introduce yourself, what you're currently doing, what you're studying.
Okay, so I'll go first. So my name's Jordan. I'm studying digital marketing at Portsmouth University. I'm currently on my third year placement, so I'll be doing a final year after this. And it's for a small company who's being currently rebranded called Inceptio. They're like a technology-based company in services and products. I'm from Reading, so it's not that far away to travel, really. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Hey everyone, so I'm Reese. I also study at the University of Portsmouth doing digital marketing with Jordan. I currently work at SAP Concur in Maidenhead, which is essentially a technology solutions company that's now owned by SAP. And I'm a marketing associate that works in the SMN department, so I mainly work with small, medium and national sized businesses. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, perfect, thanks guys. So what made you guys choose those placements? Was there something that attracted you initially? Was it, yeah?
Yeah, I'll go first again. So I got my placement through a contact which I knew through my university. So I got an email from my course leader saying there's this opportunity going for a postgraduate digital marketing assistant who's made his own digital marketing company. So I applied to him. We had a couple of interviews, and he liked me, so I worked for him. Through him, he then invited me to meet this friend of his, and I'm basically now working for him. And that's how I got to know the company. It's really nice. It's nice working for a small company, really. It's not a lot of corporateness to it, but yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
And it's always a bonus if they like you, right?
Yeah.
I essentially just applied for every placement that I could find, and then I got offered the interview from SAP, and the actual interview wasn't for Concur, which is the product. It was actually just in the SAP offices, just assessment center. I was lucky to get on my first assessment center. Another time I didn't know where SAP are, but yeah, pretty much I just applied for any role that in the description said things that I knew how to do or things I wanted to know how to do. So yeah.
Yeah. How did you find the whole process of going through an assessment centre?
Oh.
I mean, I've been through them myself, and
Yeah.
it can be quite long and laborious. Some of the assessment centres, particularly.
Mhm.
How did you find that?
Well, it was the only one I went to, and it was quite stressful. There was about 60, 70 people at this assessment centre, and we had to do presentations in front of them. It was satisfying after the day had ended to know that I was able to do everything that they needed: the assessment centre, the interviews, the presentation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely a stressful experience.
Yeah.
But it did prepare me, obviously, for the future, where if I'm going for roles, I should expect a lot of competition and to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So, if you were to obviously finish your placements, finish your degrees, and you were to look for employment in the future, what are some of the things that may attract you to some particular companies, It could be to do with maybe the pay, the benefits they offer. What are sort of some of the driving factors for you to apply?
All right. So obviously, the first thing that everyone sees is a salary. That's what they're going to compare to other companies. But obviously, a huge part of it is like company perks, especially for a retail company. That's one of the things which you can actually offer as like a benefit. Obviously, students, they don't have a lot of money. They've got this massive amount of debt, and they're always looking for ways that they can save money. So companies that can offer ways to save money is quite attractive.
Yeah, for me, I think the reputation of the business will play a part. Obviously, to begin with, any job that I can get, I will take. But when it gets like down the line, the reputation of the business plays a part in it. I think that being able to understand the company culture is really important. For example, like at my placement, even though when I had the interview at SAP and it was very corporate, because the office I work in is quite small, it's more of a small workplace environment, and at the moment I find that a lot more attractive. It's a lot less intimidating. And yeah, so if a company has like a recognizable culture through the application, and also just to do with things like diversity, what the business does outside of the actual job role, things like sustainability, things like that. Those kind of practices make you feel as though you're passionate about the company you want to work for, and especially obviously with younger people being more socially aware, I think things like sustainability really do come up as a good point for a company to have.
Yeah. No, yeah. They all sound like really, really interesting points, and I know certainly when I was looking for employment as well, those were some of the factors that I considered as well. So if I pose this question to you, say if a huge tech company approached you, and say a retail company approached you, what do you think the retail company would have to do to gain your services basically? What would they have to do that would stand out compared to such a huge prestigious company? Who wants to take that one first?
So I think, as I said, it's a lot to do with reputation. I think being in marketing, a lot of the kind of things that I would look for in a job application can come from retail, can come from tech. It's great to know about the company, but when I'm looking at jobs, I want to be sure that I know those are the kind of things I specialize in. For example, I don't really like statistics or market research. But when I was looking for placements, quite a lot of the placements mentioned it in what they were looking for, and I knew that those ones to avoid, mainly because on my placement year I want to impress, I want to potentially get a job afterwards or just get good references, and I think that to do that, it needs to be things that I'm passionate about, so more to do with creativity, writing, designing things. Like those are the kind of things that I would look for in a job description, and it wouldn't really matter who the company is as long as they offer these kind of opportunities for me.
Awesome. Cool. And Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, as I think retail companies are very good because they offer something which a lot of companies can't, and retail companies can launch you into various other sectors of work, whereas I suppose tech, even though it is included in everything, I suppose retails have all those different outputs that you get a lot of self-improvement from. It's very important to give, I guess, graduates that opportunity to improve themselves. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for ways that I can actually improve myself, improve like my career prospects, and I guess improve just generally as a person.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. It looks like we have some questions, which is great. It was quite before the session. We were saying, "Oh, what if nobody asks any questions?" But yeah, so we've got some here. We'll maybe take the first one here. So how can employers best engage with you on campus, and what will make you attend an employer event? I don't know, Rhys, do you want to maybe take this one first?
Yeah, so in regards to like what would make me attend an event, obviously it just have to be relevant to what I'm doing and something that I feel like I could gain some kind of skill from, gain networking from, and with the first question, yeah, just being able to talk about the kind of personal development that things offer. Finding out about new companies for us from being here yesterday is just a really interesting thing, even though the current place that I'm working at is more to do with software, talking to retail companies, talking to shipping companies, just any company that we can become more aware of and any new technologies they're producing really will benefit us in the long run. And we're just interested really, just to learn more.
Cool. And Jordan, do you have any thoughts?
I guess for me to be actually interested in a company or like an employer event, it has to be like they have to be like have people there actually trying to gain my attention. Obviously, we're bombarded with adverts and everything, and people trying to come up to you. It has to have some benefit to me. People are always looking for like a benefit, like actually exchange. So you're not just going to go to something just because someone's asked you to. You want to actually gain something from it. So if they could offer, I don't know, some form of payment not payment, you know what I mean. Some form of benefit which I don't know, improved your knowledge somehow. That would be a good way.
Awesome. Sounds really great. So we've had the next question. What was the worst experience you had when looking for a graduate role? I can think of some personally that I've had, but Rhys, I'll let you go first.
So obviously when looking for placements, it was more the actual, as I said, the assessment centre was the first one I did, so I was quite lucky in regards to that. But a lot of...
So maybe the application process behind it is...
There's a lot of applications that I found were too long. You would complete one step that would take you half an hour to an hour, and then you get an email saying now you're ready for the next stage. And even though I may have been interested in the companies, unless I was really interested, I usually didn't go as far as to put these few hours into it. And the company that I actually ended up working for was only, I would say general, 30 minutes, maybe up to an hour if it's really detailed, is fine for a job application. Obviously, they usually require a lot of writing. But I just found there was a few companies where I would have to first, and it's not a matter of like receiving an email a few days after. You literally receive an email as soon as they file it, which means like makes you feel like you haven't even contacted them yet. It hasn't gone through to them. So yeah, I just think there was a few times where I'd spend a few hours on an application and then it didn't turn out to be anything, and that was just stressful, you know?
Yeah, I mean, some of the companies nowadays, they have these, you apply through their site, and then to do that you have to create an account, you have to fill out so many details, and there's not really much room for manoeuvrability, and I completely understand where you're coming from there.
And some of them would be like practical tests as well, and things to do with like actually doing a test, whether it be maths or whether it be just about like things to do with marketing. And I'm like, I understand why they're doing it, but couldn't this be at a later stage when I know that I'm actually being considered for the role?
Yeah. And Jordan?
I think one of the most annoying things, just as a one-off thing, is when companies don't just respond at all. They should at least acknowledge that you've actually maybe applied, even if you haven't got through to the next stage. They should at least tell you. There was many companies which I applied for before, which would literally just ignore you. It's not hard to send one email, because I don't know, maybe if that person, I don't know, somehow got better in some way, and then they would completely just ignore that company in the future, and that's you're maybe missing out on some talent there. But I think I agree with Rhys, and the start of the application process can be a bit long and laborious. It's a lot better to actually speak to a person. Like phone interviews were like really nice for me, because you could actually put across your personality. A lot of companies are trying to automate things, and they can be good, but obviously when you're trying to recruit people, it's good to actually get to know them as a person and not think what a computer thinks, basically.
Yeah, it's almost that initial screening process when you apply online. Maybe some fancy algorithm behind the scenes will decide who is the best, who's not. But actually what you're saying is that you don't get a chance to show your personality, which is part and parcel of the person that you're employing.
I'd say, following on from Jordan said as well, with being able to get a response, I think pretty much anyone who's looking to get their first steps into the industry would like to get a response, purely so they can say, what did I do wrong? What can I learn from this? Because when they're not responding at all or not giving us any feedback, we're just going to keep doing the same things because we don't know what we did wrong. And I really do feel like, yeah, just having that feedback, even if it is a bit harsh and say, oh, this looked bad or something like that, at least we know and it can help us get a job in the future.
Yeah. So bare basics, you get a reply to say, no, you haven't been successful. What would be great is if you got some feedback maybe to say,
Definitely.
this is what we think you could potentially do, which may improve
Yeah.
your chances of getting employment elsewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. And the next one we have is, how important is location? What would you look for? City, suburban, London, connected transport. So you guys are from the Portsmouth, Reading area?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm from Reading, and
Yeah.
obviously I go to Portsmouth, but you're from Wales, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't know what Maidenhead was until I got a job there.
Is anybody from Maidenhead?
Yeah.
No, okay.
Not many people are.
Okay.
And it's very much a situation where if the employment looks good, and also the option of, especially with placements, the salary isn't what you would get as a standard salary. So depending on the area and the salary, they need to match up, and it needs to be a situation where this location is somewhere I can afford to live. Because on a placement salary, a lot of people wouldn't be able to afford to live in London. And in regards to location, yeah, in the future, I don't think location will be too big of a deal. It would be nice if you can live in the area, so you don't have to pay for transport or pay to drive there. But yeah, for me, it doesn't really play an issue. As long as the job looks good, I'll apply for it.
Yeah, and then say if somebody in the northeast, maybe Newcastle, if the opportunity was
Yeah.
right, would you potentially move up there?
Yeah,
Yeah?
move anywhere.
Oh, yeah. And then Jordan.
Yeah, I agree with what Reese says. I mean, I'm a bit less adventurous than Reese. Portsmouth isn't that far away from Reading. It's only an hour drive, hour and a half drive. Location, I feel like as long as it's got good actual transport links, I'm happy to go wherever. I think also leading on from what Reese said with the cost of where people live and stuff, that's quite important, especially at a young age. It's harder to get actual places to live, and that takes a huge chunk of what you earn. So it needs to be actually customized to where you work and where you need to earn, basically.
Yeah, especially maybe with some graduate schemes, for example, they may have certain benefits in them which say, okay, you may get subsidised travel. There's all sorts of things what potential employers could offer. Okay, so we'll go for the next question. What would you say is a reasonable placement salary? That's quite a difficult one, just because it obviously depends on what area, sort of what sector you're going to go into.
For example, Portsmouth, it was the UK's cheapest student city. So if you were in somewhere like Portsmouth, our university wouldn't let us take any that were below 15,000, and they said they should be around 20,000 is the highest.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was much higher, they wouldn't say we couldn't take it.
Yeah, of course.
But they were saying between 15 and 20,000. And personally, with my placement, it's more towards the 20,000. But I think with the area that I'm living in and the cost of living, someone who lived, for example, in Portsmouth and was on a salary closer to 15,000 would probably be on the same kind of spending money budget in regards to that. In regards to placement, I think it's relative to where the job is, and if the person can actually manage on the money that they have.
Yeah.
Are you happy with your salary?
It's good.
Yeah.
Are your current employees here now or no?
No, but I still don't know if people are allowed to talk about that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jordan, do you have any thoughts?
As I'm working for a slightly smaller company, a much smaller company, salary isn't as high as Reese's salary.
I don't say that.
Obviously, being a smaller company, you don't have that ability to pay someone as much as a big company. Salary, it's always important, like I said before. But as long as you can actually offer learning, progression, it can be worth more in the long run. So that's what's important to me, I think.
Cool. We'll move on to the next question. So the next one is, we're a small business diversifying into tech. How can we attract talent? Is autonomy and support to develop as attractive as joining an existing tech company? So
I would say, especially if it's a small business that's first trying to get into it, I personally would find that to be a lot more rewarding. I know with the different sizes, mine and Jordan's companies that we're working for, that your impact in the business can be lesser if the company's bigger. And I do think that younger people especially want to make an impact on the company. They want to have everyone know who they are. And for me personally, I think that being part of a company that I thought was interesting and they were innovating would be something that would appeal to me. And I think just by if they were able to say in there that we've got this unique product that we're innovating, said culture and things like that, you know, it would, obviously if it's a small business, it wouldn't be too corporate, which in itself would be an advantage. I think it is just a matter of trying to understand the needs and wants of our generation and trying to appeal to them through just that understanding. And there is different types of people, but in general, I think, yeah, if you're in this kind of industry, you want to stand out and you want to be part of something bigger.
Cool. And Jordan?
Yeah, I completely agree with Reese. It's very important to give them that opportunity to actually make an impact, especially as a small company. You have that opportunity to give them better roles, better responsibilities to actually make a difference in the company. I know that me being in my smaller role of a small company, I've had a lot of opportunities to actually do stuff which affects the company a lot, especially as they're going through rebranding. I've been helping with that a lot. I'm one of the key people that my boss comes to and asks for advice, as I'm this young person who's got this young outlook on life, and that's in the end what obviously the future is going to be. I think a way of attracting, I suppose, just younger people in general. People are always looking to be flexible like working hours. Obviously, you don't want to take the pee. You want people to be able to collaborate. You don't want people just be at home doing nothing. And obviously, hopefully, you can trust the people that you've employed to actually do their job and do work. But still being flexible is very important, especially like going back to the transport one. You want, if it's a long way away, you want to have that opportunity to work from home if you can, because you don't want to be doing an hour's drive every day just to do that.
Yeah. I suppose there's also the flip side to that as well. If you were joining, say, you just graduated, you were joining a business and you were, say, the sole person that maybe the management would come to for some of the work you were doing, who would you then go to for maybe guidance? So one of the things that I done when I graduated is I joined like quite a large corporate company, and sort of the reasoning behind that was they've got the support infrastructure in place. So rather than me going to, say, a startup or maybe a smaller company, maybe the help and development wasn't there for me personally. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah,
I can agree with that. I know we were talking about this before. Obviously, Reese being part of a bigger company has that support network. He has people to actually learn from as such. I do have that, but I don't have like a proper mentor which can actually is in the same position as I am, but just older. I don't have that, so a lot of it is self-taught, but also guidance through my managers as well.
Yeah. I am quite lucky with the placement at the moment. The manager I report to, have weekly meetings. If I ever need help with anything, she's available to give me support. And I do think, even when we're talking about graduate roles, not placements, that it is important for a manager who understands this is a graduate who wants to develop, that they have a plan in place to improve the development. Whether that's be gradually increasing their workload, where they're learning new processes. They just got to understand that they don't have the experience, but they are dedicated to learning, and they could be a really valuable asset to the company, but they do need to have that personal development. They can't just go in and learn it practically. Yeah. They need to be helped with it, I think.
Yeah. And I suppose it's that sort of that time you get with management or people in the senior positions who will be able to maybe transfer some of those skills along to you guys, or, Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We've actually got a name on this one, Pete T. Thanks for the question. Where would you look for jobs? Company career pages, careers events, social media. So what sort of platforms? Do you have any thoughts?
So a big thing, especially being when we were at Portsmouth University, they do careers events, which are really cool because they give you a chance to speak to all these different companies. They can pitch to you what, like they're actually pitching to you. You don't have to physically go to them and actually say, can I have a job? They're actually making you want to work for them, which is a great thing. You don't want to fight for a job every single time you apply. Obviously, LinkedIn being a social platform and obviously being a younger person is a very good thing. Obviously, there's always ads at the side saying, "Oh, do you want to work here?" And they can be good, and they can be just a load of rubbish. So obviously, there's a lot of customization that needs to maybe happen in the background there. But apart from that, job sites, just sticking it into Google, they're always really like important as well. That's where a lot of, I guess, the traffic would go. Yeah.
Yeah, I would primarily say LinkedIn, especially when after graduating. I feel like LinkedIn is just like the logical next step in applying for jobs. It's obviously like emails, like they used to send the CV into the shop, now they send it over email. It makes sense for just it to now turn into a social media platform where through that you can talk about your qualifications, but also through the likes, the things that you like, the pictures you put up, the posts you put up yourself, you can actually build more of a personality. You can talk more about your achievements, because there's some things that are achievements for you, but they may not fit on your CV, and it's good that hopefully as well, I would hope that the company that I would want to work for would be using LinkedIn to look for younger people, because they would understand that this is the future of applying for jobs. And I just think LinkedIn for me would be the number one place to look for a job next year.
LinkedIn gives you that opportunity to actually put across your personality, because on a piece of paper it's kind of hard to say this is what I'm like and this is who I am. LinkedIn is quite good for putting across your personality, I think.
Yeah, especially when there's obviously a lot of recruitment consultants, for example. If they maybe contact you directly, it makes you feel a little bit more, if it's not an email and a generic just send out to everyone. If it's someone personal saying, hi Reece, hi Jordan, we have this opportunity available. Would you like to maybe be interested to have a call? And then, as you said, when you have a call, you've got a chance to get your personality across, which is better than just an application or a piece of paper.
Following on from that as well, like I know, like when we were in university, you occasionally get messages from recruiters and things like that, like direct messages. And I think that would be a really cool way to find out about a new opportunity, because then you can message saying, you don't have to just see what the application is and then just go in first and apply for it. You can be like, oh, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Do you offer this? Where is it? Stuff like that. Do you have other offices? Essentially, it just makes it a lot easier for you to build a connection with them before actually meeting them.
Yeah. Cool. On to the next question. Would you personally travel abroad to gain a placement or employment when leaving university? I know I'd like to go to a sunny country. But yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opportunity would have to be worth the travel. Because if there's opportunities at home that I could be not go into a completely new country and start a new life pretty much, if there was the opportunity back home, then I would prioritize that. But if there was an opportunity that was really something that I wanted to do with a company that I was really interested in, traveling abroad wouldn't be a problem. It would, it just has to be worth it, really.
Yeah, and hopefully it's maybe a same language.
Yeah.
That'll be a bit of a barrier. Yeah, I suppose you can learn, showing willingness. And Jordan?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, going abroad is quite a big decision. It has to be for a company which you're personally really, really interested in and know that they can actually project you into your career. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I'll probably stay home for a while. I don't particularly like leaving home as much, but yeah, I mean, if it's the right company and the right opportunity, I would definitely leap at it. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Next question. How important is the actual role in comparison to the other factors? So the salary or location. So the job you're doing, potentially, it's something you've trained for in university, you've studied a lot, you come out of university and there's another job which is not what you've really studied, but it's better pay. How would that go down?
I'd probably say that the role is the most important factor. I think that if there was two options and one of them was a much bigger salary, but you would hate the role, I don't see the point in taking all the time you spend learning in uni to then go on and do something you hate. Like, part of the point of going to university is so that you can go into an industry and you can work for a company that you want to work for and you can do what you want to do. So I think the things that are listed in the role, for me, definitely would be the most important thing, because making a lot of money but doing something you hate doesn't really seem like a way to live, really.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The role probably is the most important thing. It's what you're going to be doing every day. You don't, like Reece said, you don't want to be doing something that you hate, especially with all the recent, not advances, but knowledge of how everyone's mind health has been going. And yeah, it's very, very important, I think, for the actual role to actually relate to what you're studying and what you're doing.
Yeah, I think if you spend this amount of time in university and you graduate, you come out and there's a job opportunity which is something completely different to what you've done, maybe it might be good, but the likelihood is it's, the past 5 years I've worked so hard to get where I am. You want to be doing something specific. Yeah, I can relate. Okay, on to the next question. Do any of your peers have experience with degree apprenticeships? What are your opinions on these?
So I haven't personally met many people with degree apprenticeships. I don't know, really. It depends on, I think, what they're trying to do. Yeah. With doing, for example, with digital marketing, although the practical experience that we're getting on our placements is useful, a lot of it is theory, a lot of it is understanding consumers and getting more knowledge from previous advertisements and why they worked and things like that. But if you can do an apprenticeship, that teaches you everything you really need to know, and you would have the same knowledge as someone who was just doing a degree at university. I think it would be worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anyone either that's done this, but I think, like I've said throughout, it's all about personal progression. If this apprenticeship can actually offer you the skills and that you need, that's what's really important to actually improve your career prospects.
Yeah, I suppose with the degree apprenticeships, you're getting that experience, hands-on experience with a company. There's the opportunity to join a company, maybe a big company, a smaller company, but then there's that opportunity to leave your mark. And if you make a really good impression, then there's the chance that you might have future employment with them, which can lead to some good things. Cool. Ooh, an economy question. Next question. Due to the economy, would you start a business after leaving university, or is the risk too large? So entrepreneurial, anyone?
It's difficult, really. I would like to start a business, but the ideas haven't come yet. But I don't think the economy would play too big of a part in whether I was going to set up a business. I think that would purely come down to if I thought the idea was good enough that it could succeed, and I was passionate enough about the idea of setting up my own business, and was able to get some mentorship in how to set up a business. Like, personally, in my family, I know quite a few people who have set up their own businesses, and that would be very much like almost like a coaching type thing. Like, what do I do next? But I don't think the risk would be too large if you're really passionate about the idea.
Cool. Yeah. I haven't really thought about starting my own business as such, but I mean, I think being very early on in my career of like digital marketing, I'd probably look for it wouldn't be straight out of university. I'd look for like getting knowledge from other companies first, and then maybe in the future starting up with some of the knowledge that I gained. It wouldn't be straight after university.
So if we see either of you two on The Apprentice in the next couple of years, then we can thank that question.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So what's the biggest challenge that you and your fellow students face when applying for graduate roles? I mean, I know we've probably touched on this in a few of the earlier questions about the length of the application process, the amount of time you have to put into it, getting your personality across. So Rhys.
I'd probably just say me and John will be quite lucky that when we finish our placement years, I think we will be able to say that we have experience, but just from experience in applying for part-time jobs throughout uni, like if you don't have experience in something, not a lot of people want to take the risk on you. So I think for students, I think not having that practical experience that you can back up, even for example, like with currently working for a B2B company, I probably wouldn't have enough experience in practices they do in B2C. So I think it's very much a matter of, it's difficult to get your foot in the door, but after you can prove your ability, they'll be able to, the career will be able to progress. But I think it is just getting that first step in the door, really.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was just about to say. It's all about, it's so hard to get your foot in the door these days. I guess companies need to give you that opportunity to show who you are, and show your personality basically.
Yeah, I think in my field personally, in data science, there's things that obviously the market's quite competitive. So there's things that people do, such as maybe Kaggle competitions. So there's extra things you can do to sort of showcase yourself and maybe make you stand out from somebody else. I don't know whether it's the same in digital marketing sort of world, but there's definitely things we can try and do to make ourselves stand out. Okay, then next question. From personal experience, what part of the UK offer the most opportunities for recent graduates?
I mean, obviously, in regards to placements, and I'm assuming if companies would be interested in taking on placement students, they would probably be interested in taking on people who've graduated. I would say around London area, when I was applying for placements, like so many in Berkshire and just surrounding areas around London. When I was looking at places like ones around Cardiff, there was nothing. Other parts of the UK, they don't really do stuff like that in universities in Scotland, so it really is pretty much all around London. But obviously that's a good way because a lot of businesses are in London, so it's good that they can get their they can get their foot in the door and they'll be able to be around all these businesses and be able to apply in general area.
Yeah, well, I have the privilege of actually living in Berkshire, unlike Rhys, who's in Wales and away from everything. There was loads and loads of opportunities around my area. It's just all around London. I know I went into London a couple of times to do a couple of assessment centres. It's all around London, to be honest.
Yeah. I suppose London's such like an epicentre for the UK. There's a lot of talent from not only the UK but abroad who come and study work in London, and the opportunities are endless. Okay, I think this leads us nicely actually onto the last question. So last one, have you found that having a placement experience before your final year has benefited you in finding a job? How? So I think you're at the stage where you're currently on placement. So maybe we'll think about this. Do you think it will help?
I mean, Portsmouth University have always said to us that the amount of job opportunities that you get from doing a placement just increases just so much if you don't have a placement. That's why I wanted one. I really actually properly tried so hard to get a placement because I know that it matters. Your prospects just increase just loads.
But I feel from me only being in my placement about 2 months now that I've already learned so many things that I know will benefit me in the future, like learning new softwares that I'd never heard of, especially because the main part of my role is working under my manager, who is does client marketing. And in university, we've never really had that much knowledge of B2B. We've never really been taught about how to sell to your clients after you've already got them. So it's for me, it's learning about a whole new part of marketing. And yeah, just the practical experience that we get, no doubt will give us skills that will help us in the future.
Cool. Well, I'm sure you guys will probably have no troubles finding work after you graduate.
I hope.
Anyway, thanks for your time today, guys. It's been great.
That's right.
And thank you, everyone, for your questions.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.